Good morning. We're going to talk about admission process today and why that process is so crucial. But I want you to understand the opportunity that you have to have a successful admission throughout. Okay, so we already know your admission starts. You have two phases, all right? You have your pre-admission and then you have your admission. Okay, when did that admission get here? All right, so this is my thing here: planning and preparation. And you'll hear me talk about this a lot. This is what I live by. Produces positive outcomes. All right. Say this all the time. The better we plan, we prepare, the better outcomes we're going to produce. Okay. So, like I said, you have your pre-admission phase. And then you have your admission. Okay, so what's the pre-admission phase? The pre-admission phase is, all right, I get the call, Bilquis, you're going to be getting this admission today, blah, blah, blah. Okay, as a DON of that facility, this is an opportunity to say yay or nay. All right, now you might not can't say no to it, all right, depending on how low your census is. And you know, we have to make revenue, we need heads and beds, right? So let's just keep it like that. But suppose you get an admission and you know you want to find out you know, their history, their diagnoses, family dynamics. Why? Because every time you come in, you know, there's always family dynamics and everything. The goal, all right? It's always the goal. You always want to know what the goal is. Why? Because this is going to tell you what you need to do in this process, okay? If their goal is to go home, you know discharge teaching starts when? On admission, okay? So you want to be able to get this information. You want to know this mental status here, all right? Psych meds, your PASAR, okay? And this is something that your social worker will be getting. Immunizations, anything that can give you information on how to best have a good outcome with this admission that's coming. All right, so once you gather that information, this is considered your pre-admission phase. So look at the information so that you're not alarmed when they get to your facility. You know, you might get an admission, and because you didn't read the history, you didn't know that they were like on special respiratory equipment. You might not know that they're on special IV antibiotics that you perhaps don't have in your e-box. That, you know, they're a smoker, or, you know, they come from an abusive background, that they have Arian agent involved. So you want to be able to have as much information in this pre-admission phase so that you can have a good process when they get there, and more importantly, a better care plan, okay? The other thing is, excuse me, you know, their code status, all right? Now, keep in mind, if you go to the hospital and they don't have a code status, the hospital is automatically going to put you as a full code, all right? So it is important that we don't just take the code status that they had at the hospital and just tag it on here without speaking to the family. Do not assume that that code status for a full code is accurate, okay? I've seen it many a times. The hospital has them as a full code. You go, you speak with the family when they come into the facility and say, hey, the hospital listed them as a full code. Is that accurate, okay? And they might say, no, a full code, oh my God, no, we have a living will, they have a DNR. So don't just take this as accurate information, okay? Because if you go into the hospital, you don't have a code status, you're not sure about your code status, you're going to be a full code, all right? So now you've looked over all of this admission information, you know, okay, the diagnosis, what's the most famous? Oh, UTI or fracture, okay? So they might have had a UTI and then have a fracture secondary to that because they fell, okay? So they have a fracture, okay, what's their weight bearing status? You know, what type of, do they need like a raised toilet seat? You know, anything like that. So again, you'll be able to prepare for this when it comes in. All right. The other thing that I want you to think about during the pre-admission phase, okay, you looked over it. I looked over this admission and said, okay, we can handle this admission. Okay. Now, suppose this admission was something that you've never had at your facility before. All right. You don't have a policy for it. Your staff don't know how to care for it. You yourself don't know how to care for it. What do you do? All right. Circle back to, remember I put the video out on facility assessment. Circle back, look at that facility assessment. If you are getting an admission and it's nothing that you have had, please, please, please educate your team on it before it comes into your facility. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, we always want to think patient safety first. Okay, so if it's something that you have not had or you're not familiar with, get you and your educator down and find out how to get educated on this process. All right. The other thing that you can do as a DON, and I highly encourage this, okay? If you're getting an admission, if you have the opportunity to go lay eyes on that admission, do so, okay? I've done it, and I found out that I was able to better plan that admission when I actually laid eyes on it, okay? Because you know, you read over that admission, you get an admission. The admission's been in the hospital for 4 weeks. All right, 6 weeks. Nobody wants to take this admission, right? What they say, your admissions director say, oh, you know, they're not that bad. You know, they've just been in there, and you're like, okay, well, why are they sitting? Ask these questions. Why are they have been there for 6 weeks, 8 weeks? That should ring a bell to you to say, okay, there's a reason why a facility doesn't want this resident, and your admission director is pushing you to take this admission. Go lay eyes on that facility. On that admission. Okay, they're at the hospital. Go lay eyes on that admission. Take you, your assistant, or your educator, whoever, you and that person, even your admissions director, go lay eyes on the patient. All right, get to know the patient. All right, what's going on with this patient? Why don't anybody want this patient? Okay, sometimes it could be financial. A lot of times it could be behavioral. All right, you know, sometimes you might not have a long-term bed and they are a short-term bed and they're long-term. You know what I mean? And you only have a short-term bed. And if you take that patient, it's going to automatically put them into a long-term bed. So it could be financial, but do yourself a favor. Go lay eyes on that patient if you can. All right, I'm not saying to get out there and go look at every admission, but I'm saying if you want to start being selective in the type of patients that you're getting, be a little bit proactive in that process, okay? And also, if you want to stop getting patients that are more psych, all right, if you want to gear away from that, but you are a challenge facility and you know you have low numbers, but you need to bring up your census, I highly encourage you to think of a specialty that you can incorporate into your facility to then specialize in that and grow your census from there, okay? That's another thought that you can do, because I do find the challenge facilities, they do have more of the psych population, okay, which is hard to manage, all right? And then sometimes they're just automatically, they might not have any type of insurance, pay your source, and so then they are your long-term care, they turn into your long-term care residents, and then you they are with you until, you know, unfortunately, until they pass away, all right? So if you are one of those facilities and you're that DON and you have the opportunity to lay eyes on them, go lay eyes on them. If you're a challenge facility and you continuously, get psych patients, again, go lay eyes on that resident, and then also try to come up with a specialty. Okay, what is it that you can have your facility specialize? Okay, don't get the same thing that another facility might be doing. Get something that's highly needed, that a lot of facilities don't want to do, but you can train your staff and you have a great educator to master that, and then you start accepting those type of patients. So more in the pre-admission phase, okay? I want you to start taking a look at the environment, okay? How many times your admission come and the room is not ready? Oh my God, okay? The room is not ready, okay? What does that first impression is everything, okay? So room readiness, pre-admission, okay? You have one time to make a first impression, all right? That room needs to be top tier. Things that I look for when I'm going into a room, all right? I'm looking at the bathroom. I'm looking at ceiling tiles. I'm looking at curtains, remote for the TV. I'm looking at the TV. I'm looking for the bed control. I'm looking for a nightstand with locked drawer and the key. I'm looking for the clock on the wall. All right, I want to make sure that the TV is actually functioning. I'm looking at the PTAC unit, thermostat. I'm checking the handrails that's in the bathroom, toilet for security, call bell, phone. Is it working? Okay, call bell, make sure it has a clip to it. All right, this is one of a lot of people complain about. You know, they don't have the clips to their call bell. Easy fix, okay? I always say if you have one missing, just do a quick audit in the whole building and make sure all of them have it. Okay, so when you're checking your call bell, you're not just checking to say, oh, the call bell is there. You want to push it, make sure you go out and you go out and you can see it light up at the room, or if you have a type of paging system or whatever, that it goes to that person. The other thing, your bedside table, you want that. So this is going into your pre-admission process. Okay, this is your pre-admission phase, making sure your room is ready. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. There is nothing more frustrating to get an admission and the room is not ready. Okay, what does that tell us? It tells us that we have a lack of communication. It tells us that, oh, we knew you were coming, but guess what? We're not prepared for you. Okay, you're not important to us. Okay, have the room ready. All right. Find out wherever this room is, who is the appointed person for that room. Okay, so I'm big on rounding and having IDT team members have assigned residents to rooms. All right, who is the assigned appointed person for that resident during the admission stay? The person that's going to go and meet that admission when it comes. Even if it's on the weekend, your manager on duty be going to see that admission. Your supervisors, everybody's involved. Okay, you want to make sure that someone is in that room every day when you're getting those new admissions. All right, somebody from management is in seeing that resident to say, hey, do you have any concerns? How was your first night? How was the food? How was your pain? Ask important questions, okay, because they're going to give you the feedback. All right, so room readiness. The other thing you can do, it's not a must, but I highly encourage pre-packaging, okay? Let me erase some of this. Pre-package. Okay, and this will just be like the basin with, you know, the toiletries, okay? How many times you know, your patient, they get there and immediately they got to go to the bathroom. They might need a urinal. They might need a bedpan, okay? So taking it back to the history that we're talking about, when you're reading over that information, it's a reason that I want you to read over. I want you to gather as much information about this patient so that when they come there, they are like wowed, okay? Because remember, this admission is now a referral source for you, all right? Meaning anything that happens during this day is another referral source, or maybe not, to come to you, okay? That means if someone was to, they know somebody that needs some type of care, and if they have an amazing experience, they're going to refer someone to you. If they had a not so good experience, you're only going to hear about the not so good part. Remember, people always talk about the negatives, okay? They don't really focus on the positive. So that's why I'm saying have this process tight, okay? Have it tight. But have the basin there, all right? A basin, just a little welcome, you know, a little welcome. Thank you. Hey, welcome, you know, to, you know, wherever your facility is. And, you know, the basin, have it ready. All right, so then your CNAs, if they have to need something and not going back and scrambling for it. I've been in situations where the patient might have had to go to the bathroom. There's like nothing set up. I can't find nothing on the unit. So take advantage and then just try to have those things in place. Okay. So you've done all that part, and now your admission arrives. All right, mission arrives. One, you want to be welcome the admission. All right. 2, consent to treat. Now this technically is really done prior in that pre-admission phase, you know, part, but sometimes, you know, it might be a last minute admission. If it is, consent to treat. All right, and if you don't know much about this, have your business office do like a quick, just a quick little, you know, end service. Just read over it, because I know when I had to do my first one years ago, the verbiage is very different, okay? Talked a lot about the financial aspect and prices. The prices might not be in there. And I know I've been asking, well, how much is this? How much is it here? How much is it to, you know, each night for the bed, for private stay? And I was like, ooh, I don't know. I have to get somebody else to get back to you. All right, so have your business office do like a little small education, you know, read through, you know, the packet of information, find out what all it is that they need to sign for the facility. And this way, again, you'll be prepared. And it's not like you're just giving them to read, okay? Because I've had, like I said, families literally read through everything, ask questions, and I'm like, oh wow, I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out. So have your business office go over the admission packet, because it's more so, like I said, a lot of, you know, financial things that goes into it, and just do a little education to like kind of walk your team through it. All right. 3, you know, vital signs, weight, skin. I cannot focus on this enough, okay? Make sure you do a skin assessment, okay? I've seen so many times admission comes in, the skin assessment's not done, they have treatments on from the hospital, it'd be days later, you know, we don't want that. All right, you want to look at that skin. Why? Because you don't want any facility acquired skin issues, skin alterations, okay? If they have pressure coming in, you want to know that coming in the door. All right, so make sure you look at your skin right away. You know, the orders, all right? Orders, get the orders, call the doctor for the orders, get your orders approved. Code status, remember, I said, if the hospital, if they didn't have like a living will, advanced directives on file, the hospital is going to automatically put that person as a full code, okay? So if that be the case, be sure that you ask that question, okay? What is your code status? And have them sign the code form, okay? Whatever code form you utilize for your facility, make sure they sign off on that, okay? A big one, personal belongings. This here gets us so many citations. It is not even funny. Okay, personal belongings. Okay, personal belongings, if it's not documented or whatever, easily turns into missing items. Okay, and we don't want those. All right, so be sure that when they coming into your facility, when they're coming into your facility, be sure that they are filling out a personal belongings sheet. All right, you want to make sure they're filling this out and have everything on there. All right, find out who's doing their laundry, and just inform them anytime they bring something into the facility. Please let you know so you can update this. Okay, this is a big one that's not done on admission and on discharge. So you imagine getting an admission, you have they discharge, you have a closed chart, that chart gets pulled, and there's no documentation on personal belongings at all. The sheet wasn't filled out, nobody talks about it in a discharge at all. So be mindful of that. Baseline care plans. Okay, I believe it's 655. Look over, make sure your baseline care plans. Now, if you're utilizing PCC, you know that when you're doing your admission, care plans prompt, they're prompt based off of your assessment, and pay attention to the mood section, okay, because they are going to be looking at that. All right, ask those questions that they ask you regarding any type of like trauma, okay, that trauma informed care plan, any type of trauma informed care. All right, so you have to ask that question, all right, because if something was to happen and you don't have it documented here, and we're trying to really provide the best care for this patient, you really need to ask those questions to the patient or even to the family, whoever's bringing the patient in. All right, and family involvement. All right, if that family member is there, ask them, okay, if that patient isn't alert oriented, say, hey, tell me a little bit about mom or dad, whoever it is, because they're going to give you so much information that's going to help you personalize. Remember, it's about personalizing information, the care plan for the resident. They're going to give you so much information that can keep that patient safe, okay? They'll say, oh, well, they always fall at nighttime. Why do they always fall at nighttime? Oh, they don't sleep at night. Why don't they sleep at night? Oh, well, he worked at a factory, and so he's always up at night. And, we keep trying to tell you, hey, dad, don't get up, but he's a night worker. So, or it might be mom. Mom is always helping dad, but, she can't do it anymore. And these are the things I want you to start thinking about. So imagine you being independent your entire life. And then a sudden event happens and you cannot do it anymore. Okay, I see this a lot with amputations. Or you ever get a patient that's, an amputee, and they just consistently keep getting up thinking that they can just get out of bed and they fall. Why? Because their brain doesn't recognize that limb isn't there, right? So they just keep getting up, falling. You're like, you have to stay in bed. It's not intentional that they're doing this. It's second nature. All right, it's second nature that you're getting up constantly. All right, so I want you to, start paying attention to those type of routines, all right? Because somebody who's independent is now going to a dependent state is going to be challenging. And this is why I say focus a lot on the mood, all right? Because this gets missed a lot, okay? You get an admission, they had to have surgery for whatever reason, and they will never go back to the same, okay? Now, and I've seen this happen many a times. We treat the body, but not the mind, okay? And I'm a firm believer where the mind goes, the body will follow. So if you don't connect everything, you're going to miss out, and you're going to be like, so-and-so isn't eating, they're not drinking. Okay, has anybody approached them from a mental state? Remember, this is a change in the patient. Okay, this patient was highly functioning, independent, to now being dependent. You have to treat the body as a whole, okay? And that gets missed so much. So that's why I say really pay attention when you're doing that admission. Don't rush through it. Ask, how are you feeling now that this, this is a change? How are you feeling? How are you coping with this? What are you doing for to help you cope? Okay, because you want to, again, personalize that care plan for them. We want to treat the entire person, not just the physical symptom that they have. All right, but getting that family involved is going to give you so much information. All right, so that is what I wanted to talk about, your admission process. Okay, don't speed through it. If you have an opportunity to get out and go on site those admissions before they get to your facility, especially if it's a patient that has been in that facility, in that hospital for a long time, I highly encourage you to get out there. If you're a challenge building and you want to get from less psych and more clinical, find a specialty that you can specialize in, circle back to your facility assessment, incorporate it in there, get the education component down with the competencies, and then move forward with that, okay? Making sure that, of course, you talk to your medical director, your administrator, your board of directors before you can actually proceed to that. But I just like to bring out, sometimes we don't get what we want because we're boxed in, all right? So you have to start thinking outside the box and do what you can do in order to get your facility to the next level. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, if you have questions, you know how to reach me, consultant@welcometolongtermcare.com. Have a great day.